Good morning everybody and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall, and today's subject is Vollmer just got bigger. Before we get on to that, I just wanted to say a big thank you and just to have a quick word with all those people that I met over at the Great Electric Train Show over in Milton Keynes by Hornby. I met a great many of you there, and some people I knew already, and it's nice to catch up with old friends and fellow YouTubers. Like I said, originally when I started this, and like we all did, it was just a means to show our layouts and everything like that, and we just answer and respond to various comments along the way. And as time has gone on, a lot of you are not just YouTubers to me, you're just friends, and it was so nice to catch up with so many of you on Saturday, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and so did Rails. I didn't take any footage with me because, well, one, I wasn't really 100% to be fair, and two, I just really wanted to enjoy the day, and it turns out that I spent most of the time actually talking to everybody rather than actually looking at the layouts. I actually came away with nothing. That was brilliant. I didn't spend a single penny at the Great Electric Train Show. Usually I'm like a kid in a candy store and start nitpicking and kind of going, oh. But I got away scot-free. However, that being said, I do have something to show you today. But like I said, I wanted to sort of say thank you to all of those I met, because it was such a wonderful day. And many of you have put up videos to say exactly the same, and I just enjoyed talking to many of you. I wanted to sort of make a special mention actually to Michael Lawrence and his son Dan, who I met. I'd never met them before, but I had been chatting to them via Messenger, and what a great pleasure and privilege it was to meet you both. The two cranes that I got for Vollmer were kindly given to me by them, and so I'm really pleased with them to have them on my layout. And I actually found out they were actually, I didn't actually realise it, but they were actually on the Warren Lane layout, which I love so much. And if you just put that on YouTube, you'll find Warren Lane layout on YouTube. It's everywhere. It's an absolutely brilliant container layout. So, and that's kind of almost like the inspiration for Mildenhall. So I just wanted to say, it was wonderful meeting you both, and hopefully next time I'll meet Marion. So like I said, on with the update. So let me show you what I've done. So like I said, Vollmer just got bigger. And Vollmer being my container terminal, and from this angle you can't really see exactly the extent of how big it's got, but I just wanted to kind of just touch upon, I'm just going to show you, just get this out. So I'm just going to show you, many of you will remember that this was on the end, and I never really liked it. I never felt it was really convincing or anything like that, and I never really liked it. So, and I wanted to create a bigger footprint for Vollmer, so that's what I've been doing, and that's why there's absolutely nothing on the layout at all, because I've literally evacuated the whole layout, because I've been doing the hard standing, the fillering on the actual concrete of the road, and that creates a lot of dust, and so that's why a lot of it has been, that's why all of it's been evacuated pretty much. Now, one of the things just to briefly mention that isn't quite to do with Vollmer, which I will just get onto, is I've now installed platform 4, which is that platform. So that's just a quick sort of, before we get on to the actual Vollmer bit and what I've done. So I've just installed that, so we now have 4 platforms over at Mildenhall station. If I just drop you down here, you can see kind of like the patchwork that I've kind of been doing on this. to get rid of a lot of the any of the undulations. But this is all done with just spare filler, because any spare filler that I've been using over at the far end, I've been using to repair other bits and pieces. But at the moment it looks quite boring because obviously there's nothing on the layout. But once it all starts getting filled up, you'll kind of get to see what it's all about. So as you can see, this is the area that I have been working on to make the footprint bigger. And I've rearranged the road slightly, so let me just sort of take you through it. It still needs to be sanded down because it's been sort of put on over a number of days. So you've had to do one layer, let that go off, and then after sand it down, go over it with another layer, and you can probably sort of see where everything was as it was before. Now, if you sort of look at that semicircle bit there, this whole section is darker because that's the new section. So this is where it went up to before, and this is what I've gained. You can also just make out the road how it used to be, as it used to come down here, and then it used to go to the bottom and up. And then we've got this bit here, which wasn't here. So basically I've filled the whole lot to make it one big space. And basically it's going to be filled with containers and stuff. And there's also going to be huge yard lamps just standing up. And I'm going to probably, and I've got the 2 cranes, I might end up needing another one, whereas before I said that one might be too much. So I really wanted to do this justice and make this bigger and have a really, really decent looking container terminal. So now the premise is that there's a level crossing that's going to run across the tracks. It's probably not quite right, and probably people might shoot me for it because it goes the way it goes across the tracks and it's not quite straight. To be honest, I don't really care in that sense, because what I had before just to me wasn't believable either. So now the premise is that the lorries will come round, skirt round the outside, come down to the bottom here, and then there's going to be an office here, and basically it's going to be coned off like it is at the other end, and then after the containers will sit in the middle, and then there's also going to be, like I said, some yard lighting and everything like that. But the thing is, the beauty with this is that I can just play around with the containers and put them where I want to see how they'll fit, and then I have to see what I can get to work. So there's no specific sort of places to put the containers or anything like that as of yet. As you can see, like I said, it's really, really patchy at the moment, which I like, but like I said, it isn't actually smooth enough. That end there, that part all the way around is all smooth, but down this end it's very rough still because it needs to be sanded over just to smoothen it out some more. I'm not looking for perfection, I'm just looking for it to be believable. And as you can see, there's all this kind of random colours and random patchwork, which is fine by me. Once the sandpaper gets onto it, it will come out fine. And then, like I said, once you start adding all these other bits and pieces, then it will start to come to life. At the moment, it just looks like some big massive grey patch. Something else that I've been doing is I've been making these, which in some ways, all the blue is basically the flux. So I'm just going to have to wash it all out. But I've been making crash barriers. Basically my old rails that I've had in the box, I've just kind of been making some crash barriers. So I'm going to poke some holes in and then curve this round, and that will kind of go around the perimeter. So then we'll get this painted up into yellow. So I've made a few of those. I've got this one slightly longer, but like I said, they just need cleaning up to get rid of all the flux and everything that's on there. So that's kind of what the plan's going to be. So Vollmer it's got bigger. So it's going to be fun to see how this develops, really. I did see the container stand at Hornby, and I was very tempted to buy some containers from there. But at that point, I hadn't really thought about making it bigger. but that piece that I showed you was really bugging me because I really didn't think it was believable. So I just wanted to get rid of it. It just didn't work for me. So I thought I'll just make the container bigger, much bigger, give it more space, and hopefully it will look even better. So before we go, I thought we'd talk about cranes. Basically, with Vollmer being bigger, I wanted to show you my crane. Now this is the crane that I've been using, and this is what the container terminal is named after. It's named after this crane, and this is a Vollmer crane, kit number 5624. And it's a lovely crane, but the thing is about this crane is when I bought it, it fulfilled what I was after, considering what was on the market at the time. Now, if you bear in mind that I was at Beringer when I bought this, so we're going on about probably a couple of years now that I've had this, and it's a lovely crane. The thing is, I felt it really didn't have presence on, it had some presence on the layout, but it wasn't kind of like, wow, you know, it really looks great. And this cost me, I think it cost me about £30. That's what it cost me. It's as I give or take £30. It's either £30 or 31 or 32, something like that. So that's how much this kit cost me. And at the time, when I was looking at getting cranes and I was researching the cranes that were available on the market, you could either have the Helgen crane, which is the all singing, all dancing sort of £700 one, which I don't think you can even get anymore. Or you can go for the cheaper option, which is still expensive, which was the Batten resin crane. And that was about £160, I think it was, or something like that. It's about £150, £160, around that sort of mark at the time. But it didn't do anything. It was just a resin crane that just was rigid. And then there was this crane, which I felt was the best option at the time. And this crane, you can move this and slide this across. I've just super glued it, but you can move this along. Or you had the Lima crane, and the Lima crane was the original Lima crane, was like a sink plunger kind of thing where you just, and it did work because it kind of was like a grab. It's like one of those kind of things that you see in a fairground where you put your 50p or your pound and you try and see if you can win the teddy bear or whatever, and it's got that grab and you just kind of, you know, it was kind of like that, and it was like a sink plunger kind of thing. Lima have brought out, which is a division of Hornby, it's like part of their group kind of thing, have brought out a new crane. It's very exciting, this. So, hang on a minute. So right, so Lima have brought out a new crane. So we need to have, we don't have a drum roll, but we have a tambourine. So here we go, we're going to show you what their new crane is about. Okay, you ready for this? Now, I have to say, before we get onto that crane actually, I did have a bit of a disaster with it, in the sense that I bought it from Amazon, and I never use Amazon. Some people swear by it, some people live by it, but Amazon is never my thing. And there's like lots of sayings. Some people say Google it and the rest of it. People just flippantly say these things, and there's sort of, somebody said to me, "Oh, you know, have a look on Amazon," and that kind of thing. So I did, and sure enough, they had this Lima crane that I'm about to show you, the new Lima crane. However, me being me, I was a bit of an idiot, or a bit silly, and I didn't realise that my address details hadn't been updated. So I ordered it, and it turns out it was going to send it to my old address, which is not a million miles from here, but it's still about a 40-minute drive each way. And I've had to like frantically get on the phone with Amazon and try and see if I can get this crane delivered here. Apparently it was sorted out that it was going to come here to my new address. And as it turns out, when I checked my Amazon account this morning, it had already been delivered, not here. So I had to go back to my old address this morning and hope that it had turned up and it was somewhere accessible. And fortunately for me, it was, and it was there. So that's really, really fortunate. So I have to say, the seller on eBay wasn't particularly helpful, because I did try and contact him before he actually sent it out, and he was pretty much rigid and said, no, that's the address that's on there. And I did explain to him, I said, look, I'm really sorry, it's my fault, but if you haven't sent it out yet, which was straight away as soon as I saw it. So, but anyway, so the Lima crane. Let me show you. Ta-da! This is the new Lima crane. So I have to say, if you're looking to do a container terminal and you're looking to do a crane, this is definitely the best value one at the moment out there, and the most convincing one, I would like to say, for the money. This has cost me exactly the same amount of money as this one. Whoopsie. Also, it's a working crane. It's a working crane as well, and it comes with 2 containers as well, so that's quite cool. They're not the best containers in the world because they haven't got a bottom, but to be honest, I don't think you can really argue with the money, because it is absolutely brilliant. I've already had a sneak peek of it. I was just trying to sort of give you a kind of number or something for it, but there doesn't seem to be a model. Oh, actually, it must be this. Right, so basically it's a Lima crane, and it's a hobby line, so that's what that is, and the code is HL8000. So for those of you who are interested in doing something similar, then this is it. Now, I was a bit wary because it is a kit and you do have to put it together yourself. However, I have taken a brief look at it, and I haven't actually taken anything out, but I just wanted to show you. It looks like it just goes together. It doesn't look like it needs any glue or anything. So I'm just going to show you how it is. I don't think it says you need glue, but I will show it to you just so you can. I mean, it's that easy to build that you only just get like a little pamphlet, and you get. It looks like it just literally snaps into place. That's it. So it's not even a kit. I wouldn't even class it as a kit, to be honest. So let's show it to you how it looks as it is. So there you go. So that's it. So it's basically 3 moulded pieces plus the 2 containers. And the 2 containers are 20-foot containers. And you know what? For the money, I think this is just absolutely superb value. I really do. And it's really, really easy to put together. I was thinking you might have to do some work. I mean, obviously, it's not going to remain like this because it does look a bit too sort of plasticky at the moment. But in some ways, it's good that Hornby have done that. Hornby / Lima have done it like this, because then you can just paint it to suit. Like I said, if you just want to leave it grey, you can leave it grey. If you want to just, like me, I'm probably going to paint this into the Freightliner colours. And then that's probably what's going to happen with this. So this base here, the top part will probably be sprayed in green. The legs will go into yellow. The other nice thing about this is it's actually got working wheels, which the other one doesn't. So that means that this can be moved up and down. So I'm hoping that it will fit into the tracks that I already have laid out. If it doesn't fit into the tracks that's already been laid out, I will move the matchsticks that are on the bottom part so I don't disturb the matchsticks that are on attached to the filler. But I think that this is absolutely superb, really, to be honest with you. And I think you can really go to town with this and customise it and do whatever you want with this. I think it absolutely looks brilliant, to be honest. Like I said, I think once it's all painted up and weathered up and grimed up or whatever, put it into the colours of your choice. The crane actually works. I don't know if it will work with Batman cranes or Dapol cranes. I mean, obviously, containers, I should say. I don't know whether the crane will work with Dapol or Batman containers, but obviously they've got their containers here. So hopefully, once it's put up, I might be able to do a little test of it to see whether or not it actually does pick up Batman and Dapol containers. I mean, sometimes it might be that they're slightly different, that they don't, the hooks doesn't, or it doesn't go stretch wide enough or something. So we'll have a little look-see. But I'm really, really impressed, because I was really kind of a little bit daunted at first, because I wasn't sure if it's going to be one of these kits that you're going to have like a million pieces to put together. And like my ratio kit, which I had my ratio crane actually for nuclear flask, and that was an absolute nightmare, to be honest. And that the instructions were so vague, and there were so many different pieces, and you had to kind of work out which piece went where. This is just literally looks like it just all just plugs in together, and that is literally about it. So we'll see how we get on with this, and until the next update, like I said, Vollmer just got bigger. So bye for now. Bye bye.